Hi everyone. Let us know if you can hear us, if you can see us. Just write some comments, please. Hi everyone. Also feel free to write where you're from, joining us. We have like 80 people already. We're gonna wait for a few more minutes for everyone to join us. We are streaming right now from Poland and Ukraine. Mateusz is in Poland. Canada, France, wow, Costa Rica, India, Colombia. I see some Ukrainian names. Cool. Germany, Kyiv. Hi everyone. Hi. London. Cool. Yay, pretty international audience. Witam from Ukraine. It's probably to you, Mateusz. Half in Polish. Florida. Vancouver. Hi everyone. Wow, it should be morning in the States. Good morning, people. Someone is texting that would be nice to hear the session in Polish language. Crazy. Wow, some fans of Mateusz. Cool.
For sure, I see quite a lot of Marketing Cloud certified people in the chat. So the session is not for you. Sorry. I will talking a bit more about it, but generally the session is especially for the people that do not know Marketing Cloud yet as good, because we will going through the very, very basics. But of course, if you want to stay, feel free. I hope there will be something for you as well.
Slovenia. Okay, guys. Yeah. Okay, it's 6:05 in Ukraine. I think we will start. So I'm really very happy to welcome you here and very happy that you joined our webinar. This is the second session in our webinar series about Marketing Cloud. Today we have another speaker from Poland, from PwC. It's Mateusz Dąbrowski. Mateusz is a Salesforce MVP, and probably lots of people from Marketing Cloud direction already know him. He's a marketing champion, he is a team lead, and he's a Marketing Cloud architect in PwC. Just a small reminder that also Mateusz has his website, which is called mateuszdombrowski.pl, where he shares his expertise and his tips and his knowledge on Marketing Cloud. So also, please check it out. I think it might be useful for you and interesting. So today, Mateusz will speak about what developers can do in Marketing Cloud. And Mateusz will also make a little introduction about himself. We are right now based in Ukraine at Noltic. And thank you, Mateusz, for joining the webinar and for becoming a guest speaker for our course and for our webinar series. And enjoy the webinar.
Okay, so hello everyone. Happy to see that quite a lot of people are here. So first thing is that Therese already mentioned in this session is part of the Noltic course on Salesforce. For the Marketing Cloud specifically, there are 4 sessions. This is the third one. There is already recorded and available on-demand sessions on Marketing Cloud Basics by Vera Popovic and on the Salesforce CRM to Marketing Cloud integration with Marketing Cloud Connect by Anastasia Pańska that you can see on the YouTube by Noltic. For sure, it will be sooner or later linked on the chat for you to see. There will be also a final session by Elliot Harper on the Marketing Cloud data management and architecture, which I believe will be quite fantastic as well. As for this specific session, I already said it, it's focused on the people who do not know yet how, or they don't know well the Marketing Cloud. They are either Salesforce developers or just out of Salesforce ecosystem developers that are looking to find their niche. So on this session, I plan mostly to showcase, on one hand, what the developers can do in the Marketing Cloud, what languages they can use, and what can benefit them in this place. So my name is Mateusz Dąbrowski. As Teresa mentioned, I'm Marketing Cloud Architect at PwC. I'm Salesforce MVP and Marketing Champion, and I'm author at mateuszdabrowski.pl site. As we are talking about the development stuff, let's of course also add my Pokemons, so the programming languages. It's not much HTML, or rather front-end, modern JavaScript with some basic frameworks, Python, and SQL Server, Microsoft, that is being used a lot in the Marketing Cloud. So this is the stack that I'm confident with. Of course, I tried to dip my toes in some other languages like Swift, but this is the core that I know and I will be referring a bit in this session. In terms of what will be the topics of today's session, firstly, I will make the quickest intro to the Marketing Cloud ever done in the world. Then I will tell you what might be interesting for you in this place, what you can do as a developer in Marketing Cloud, what languages you will either need or you can leverage from your currently known languages when you want to work on the Marketing Cloud. What are the career paths for developers? What you can think about when you are wondering what you can do to your career in terms of the Marketing Cloud. I will share some recommended learning materials that are helpful for you to grow on this path as quickly as possible. And finally, there will be place for the Q&A, where I will try to answer at least some of the questions that will be happening on the chat. So in the meantime, of course, feel free to ask the question on the chat. I will be coming back to all of them. Okay, so the first part that I wanted to discuss today is this super fast intro to the Marketing Cloud. And as I mentioned, it will be the fastest intro yet. So first thing that is important for both people from the Noltic Academy, as well as those that know the Salesforce CRM but haven't yet learned much about the Marketing Cloud, is that Salesforce is not Marketing Cloud. And it's super important distinction because despite having very similar name and both being within the Salesforce ecosystem, Marketing Cloud is a completely different platform. It was bought by Salesforce as ExactTarget many years ago, and it's still on its separate platform. It's not on Lightning. Many things that are happening in Salesforce work completely different in the Marketing Cloud. So the first thing that is super, super important is whenever you want to learn something about the Marketing Cloud, whenever you want to search for something about the Marketing Cloud, search for it in the Marketing Cloud, not the Salesforce. A very nice example of this is when I first wanted to learn the SQL language for the Marketing Cloud, I just pasted the Salesforce SQL in the Google. And of course, I started learning SOQL, so the Salesforce Object Query Language, which is for the CRM, not for the Marketing Cloud. And it took me a bit until I understood that it's not really what I wanted to learn. So this is the first very important part about the Marketing Cloud one-on-one. And the second part is, again, very basics. It's a bit of a history about what is Marketing Cloud in terms of the tool. So let's start with the very, very basics of how you can communicate with your customers, because again, the communication is the key when you talk about the Marketing Cloud. So first, when you think about the communication, especially about digital communication with the email channel, which is one of the most popular channels still after many, many years of this is the last year of email hashtags. The very basic solution is just email platforms that let you send a single email to one or few people, like Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook. It just lets you write an email, send it to someone else. So this is the level one of the sending. And of course, if you are leading a very, very small company selling handmade stuff, for example, and you have 1 to 5 customers per single moment, it's perfectly valid solution even for basic marketing. Actually, Gmail, in terms of their Google Workspace solution, so their paid tier, even recently created a solution that lets you send a minimum mass communication, so up to 1,500 communications directly from Gmail. Of course, in a very, very limited way, but it's already possible. However, as soon as you start thinking about slightly increasing the amount of messages that you want to send, that you want to touch, for example, 50,000 of your customers, 500,000 of your customers, the next type of solutions that is not that frequently seen today because they were kind of overcome by other solutions were the batch systems that allowed you to prepare a single email, be it with the drag and drop solution or with a code, and then just push, for example, 50,000, 500,000 messages to the customers. Sometimes they even had a basic personalization solutions, like providing the first name in the first line of the email, or some different customization that, for example, showed the last purchased item. But in general, they were very button blast solution that just let you push a lot of emails and to your database. Then the marketing automations, first level of marketing automation systems came to be, which started to provide a logic. So the idea here was that, okay, you batch the email, you send a lot of emails to the customers, but then you might want to do something based on what your customers do. So if they click an email, click a link in the email, you want to track it, and for example, send a different email if the click was there, or send a different email if the click was not there. Of course, the click is just example. It can be open, it can be conversion, purchase on the e-commerce based on the email. Generally, it is the glorified if-else for the marketing people. And this was a huge difference. And this is the, I would say, the core offering of current solution. All the MailChimp and other solutions offer this kind of basic customer journey, as it is called. So possibility to decide how the user should flow from one message to another based on behavior and information we have with them. Of course, because while the email is still very fine and not going anywhere for a foreseeable future, there are many other channels that are being in active use. The SMS, the WhatsApp, advertising like the Google Ads, print, letter, paper letter, or other channels, Line in Japan, for example. And this provided the next opportunity to grow for various systems, that they can use different channels and connect with a specific customer on the channel that works best for this particular person. And of course, this is still focused on just sending the communication, But then the next level is the level of the Marketing Cloud. Of course, it's not only Marketing Cloud. There are a few other tools of the same level, like the Marketer, like Oracle Eloqua, Responses, and others. But generally, the enterprise marketing automation systems like the Marketing Cloud offer all what was mentioned before, but also offer many more. There are many sources of the customers that you can apply. It's not only CSV upload to the system. You can use APIs, you can use integrations, you can use streaming data. You can use the analytics and reporting that I built in. You have very, very powerful personalization that can change even whole structure of the email depending on either the information about your customer, like the place where they live, the purchase that they made, or behaviors like the clicks, opens, the time since last conversion or contact with the service that want to get something from them. There is whole built in the constant management, because once you go up from a batch and blast, you might have a separate list for various elements of your communication, and you need to manage all these various consents, different for the transactions, different for the commercials, different for the newsletter that is opt-in, and different for the strict promotion from your e-commerce. You can build landing pages directly within the tool to prepare, for example, the form that lets you capture the consent, or just show a thank you page after the users submit some action. Finally, you can build whole business processes around the tool, like the approvals to make sure only the approved emails are being sent to the customers, whole automations that are able to wrangle with the data, change the data, and move the data between the tables to prepare the perfect segment for your needs. So this is the level of the tools that we'll be talking today. And as you can see here, it can do a lot of things within single tool. So what's in there for the developer? Because the value for the business is clear, what the developer can do in Marketing Cloud in this case. So there are a few things that are, I would say, important and are good for the developers. First is that the Marketing Cloud itself is a market leader. So you already can see a few very important companies that are doing research and analytics regarding the market share that are showing that the Marketing Cloud is one of the leaders, or the leader of the marketing automation space. From more straightforward information, you can see that the Marketing Cloud is currently the strict market leader for the campaign management applications. And what does it mean for the developer? It means that while it's very specific niche of the marketing automation systems, it's a very broad niche that provides a stable solution to build a career on. It's enterprise market, which means good prices, or rather good money that you can get from working in this tool. And it provides a lot of job offers, especially right now when, due to the pandemic and general shift in behaviors of the customers, the digital is the king and is being more and more important. The amount of jobs offered for the Marketing Cloud specialist is outstanding. So it's really good moment to think about how you can go from a very, very broad pool to more confined pool that can offer you very specific and very nice option to choose good job offers. Already mentioned the second topic, so the broad niche. It's interesting for the developers because when you're thinking about, for example, you want to be a JavaScript developer or the Java developer or Python developer, there are a lot of developers that know JavaScript. Sure, there are better, worse, but there are millions, many millions of the, for example, Java developers. Of course, going to such a solution limits the pool, makes you more unique within this pool of people that know the specific solution, but it still provides a breathing room, unlike being a COBOL developer, which means that you are not working on a dying solution. you are working on a solution that still has a future, and we'll be talking about a bit. It is a solution that lets you learn skills that you can leverage also in different places later on. Another thing that is super important is the remote work opportunities, especially in the marketing cloud space. It is more and more common to have the remote offers. Sometimes those are remote within a specific country, sometimes remote within a specific time zone, but sometimes those are globally remote. So it's easier and easier to find work, even if a specific place where you live is not that enterprisey, I would say. Next thing is accessible learning, and it's super important because while generally being a developer and focusing on learning languages is really easy in that way that there is a lot of materials that you can learn, it is also true for this specific niche. There is a lot of easy to learn materials on the Trailhead where you can just go and even on the mobile when you are traveling, learn the tool and be better in it. There are a lot of YouTube channels that are focusing on showcasing different solutions, development patterns, and best use cases for the Marketing Cloud. There are hundreds of blogs that showcase specific solutions and show the step-by-step guides on how to build various things. There is also a lot of trainings available, be it on the learning platforms like Udemy or there's also another that I forget right now. But generally, there are a lot of trainings that are available. And also Salesforce directly is presenting a lot of trainings that you can just participate even for free and learn the craft. Next part is great community, and I mean it. A lot of people say about the community that it is great, but I think that community for the Salesforce and Marketing Cloud is one of the key identifiers and unique selling points for the platform, honestly. It's vibrant, it's helpful, it's open, it's worth more than the tool itself. Whenever you have a problem, there are Slacks, there are Trailblazer community, there are groups that are meeting in person. Generally, it's one of the best communities around the world in terms of helping everyone win and learn the solution and be best they can be. Finally, in terms of the good parts, it is indisciplinary. It means that you can benefit more if you are not focusing only on code. I will be talking a bit more about it in a moment, so I will keep it a bit secret and not fully described yet, because there will be a bit more to that. The bad part is that there are huge regional differences, meaning that if you would ask me how to get your first job, and I will be coming back to it in the future slides, it's very hard to answer how to get the first job because the job market in India versus US versus Europe is completely different. There are completely different requirements and there are completely different payrolls. So it is always important, if you want to exactly understand how this job market works in your specific country, it's best to look for the people in the community that are from your country and can tell you about your specific situation, about how it works in your country. Another thing that is a bad part of the Marketing Cloud is that while the platform itself is continuously developing new features, is being actively developed, and today there was a new release that provided a lot of new features to the platform, quite a lot of things in terms of the development in the Marketing Cloud are a bit old. Again, I will be talking about it in the more details, but the SQL that we are using is the SQL Server 2016. Not that bad, but when you go to the SSJS, which is a JavaScript variant from the 99, it's a bit old, and it can be a bad thing for the developers that want to live on the edge and think about how to learn the most fresh and sexy solutions that are there. Another example is that, for example, when we think about Salesforce CRM, they are already testing GraphQL API, while at the same time, Marketing Cloud is still trying to have the full coverage of the SOAP and REST API, which are being used as a mix. So this is definitely one of the not that good parts of the Marketing Cloud. And a bit connected to it is the limited development toolset. There are a lot of things that are still missing from the Marketing Cloud for the full development approach. There is no real debugging suite. There is no real version control that you could use. There are no sandboxes that you can try and play with things. And there are partially proprietary languages, SSJS and AMScript, which make it a bit harder to transfer the skills. So let's go forward and see what else is coming back. And it's again interdisciplinary. So again, this one is interesting because it was in both the good and the bad part. So let's jump to what it truly means that the Marketing Cloud is interdisciplinary. The interdisciplinary part is related to various approaches to how one can build the career. So when you think about the standard programmer approach of the good old days, is that the programmer is a specialist. They dig deep into their programming languages, become the best in these programming languages, and are just the master of the craft. Another approach that was much more popular for the marketers, but also there are some programmers that are working on this, is the generalist. So they might not be the best in the specific language, but they know a lot of languages, and maybe not only languages, but also a bit about the business, a bit about the program management, a bit about working on the tools. So they have much smaller knowledge, not that deep knowledge, but on a very broad spectrum. So in terms of the Marketing Cloud, while both specialists and generalists can work, you will get much more if you go a bit different path, which is called the T-shaped approach. And this means that you get a very broad knowledge of the general business, marketing, digital communication, internet, and you specialize in something very specific, like, for example, being a developer and creating custom applications for the Marketing Cloud. The same can be true when we go forward. And the part why the interdisciplinary part is important is that if you stick to only the specialist or the T-shaped approach, you will hit the ceiling where sure, you can get to the mid, you can get the senior, maybe even a higher role, the tech lead, for example, but there is a ceiling where what is needed is even a bit more multidisciplinary career when you focus on more than one thing. So one approach is that, okay, you are great as a developer, but you also need to understand how the data modeling works, how the architecture of the solution is working to be, for example, Marketing Cloud architect, and be able to build and scale solutions, not only because you know how to code, but also you know all the limitations of the code, you know how this code interacts with the general database and the system. And this becomes, of course, even more important when you want to go even further. So then you, for example, need to connect the leadership or machine learning, data analytics, cross-cloud information to go forward in your career to get the best. So in the Marketing Cloud, there are a few key areas which are the most important, I would say, in terms of the development of the career. Sure, the programming is very useful because there are quite a lot of things that benefit from you either coding or at least knowing how to code. Another part is data structures, because working on the relational database is the key to the Marketing Cloud and the tools around it. integration, because you will be doing a lot of integrations within the Salesforce ecosystem and outside the Salesforce ecosystem with the customers' third-party sites, databases, and solutions. You need to know scaling, because when we are talking about the Marketing Cloud and the enterprise clients, in many cases, it won't be 50,000 records. It won't be 500,000 contacts that you will be sending emails to, but it can be millions a day that will be receiving the communication. And in such cases, something that will work perfectly fine for a small database of 50,000 will completely not work for these very, very big databases. So the scaling is yet another thing that is super, super important. Finally, very important thing is the business, because Marketing Cloud is very close to the business. So the more you know how the company works, how the marketing works, how the processes within various companies work, the better you will be to communicate with those customers, and the easier it will be for you to create a solution that is best aligned with their specific needs. So why I put it in both the good and the bad parts of the Marketing Cloud? Because it's actually up to you. Some people like being specialist in a very small area. And again, absolutely you can do it in the Marketing Cloud, but you will not be able to get the most of the solution of this ecosystem in terms of the career. But if you are a person who likes to learn a lot of different things and max and match their experiences and change the thing that they are working on from moment to moment, it really creates a perfect solution or the perfect scenario for you to get the most of what's possible with the Marketing Cloud. So once we discuss this, let's see what you can build as a developer. So there are multiple things that can be developed within the Marketing Cloud with a very different approaches. So let's start with the core Marketing Cloud, and one of the weirdest things I would say for the developers that do not know this, which is the emails. And I'm saying one of the weirdest ones because while sure a lot of emails are being created as a drag and drop solutions nowadays, for various use cases, especially when you want to be more creative or when the customer is more strict and wants a very specific implementation of the email, you need to go to the code. And by the code, I mean HTML, CSS, absolutely no JavaScript, and maybe AMP for email. So why I'm saying it's quite weird space? It's because many developers know at least basics on the front end, are able to code a landing page or to know the responsive solutions and how to work with this one. So nothing of this will work with the email HTML, because despite it being HTML, the same HTML, it's very different approach to the HTML, because it is using mostly things that you know from your 10, 20 years ago education on HTML. The tables, the inline CSS, limited support of the solution that you can build, a lot of dirty tricks to work around the problems that a specific email providers like Gmail or especially the Microsoft Outlook provides. So if you like fighting against limitations, against the quirks, building workarounds, dirty tricks to create something magic, email is perfect. But if you do not like fighting against those things, stay away from the email or focus on the drag and drops. The next part is the landing pages. This is much easier part. It's just a very small landing pages that are great solutions to build either mini pages for capturing, for example, the consent or the interest in terms of forms. It's great for building mini backends to integrate with other solutions, to build the preference center where the users can manage what they want to do with their opt-ins, opt-outs, and subscriptions to specific communications, or to create a dashboards where you can showcase some details from the platform. Here, you can just use anything you want. It's modern landing page without any weird limitations. There are also automations, which are something like CRUD, generally solutions that can run either on the schedule or on a specific triggers that can do many things in the Marketing Cloud. From the development point of view, the most interesting ones are the writing SQL selects, so that you can pick the data that you want and create the segmentation or the tables that you need to have in terms of providing the perfect group of users that should receive the communication and providing the right information that you can use in the personalization to fill in the emails with the one-to-one information. There are scripts that you can work with to talk to the APIs or to make some changes to the system ongoingly, for example, every hour to get the newest data from the API. And there are drag and drop ETLs, so the solutions to work with the SFTPs to get the data, again, either from or to other systems in a bigger numbers. Next part is the strict APIs that you can use. And of course, this means that you can work on any outside of Marketing Cloud solution and talk with it using the APIs to integrate it with your solution of choice. And finally, I already mentioned it, it's not exactly development, but it's a very technical thing, is the architecture of broader than code, building the solution from all its capabilities, all the things that can be created either manually or through the code, and with a big potential to be a cross-cloud solution. Because in most cases, when someone has enough money to purchase the Marketing Cloud, they also will want to integrate it with the CRM, CDP, or other solutions where they store and use the data, their website, their e-commerce, whatever the specific client is using. The next part, and here the Matthias that is on the chat, and you can see him, there are custom content blocks that you can build and improve what's possible within the emails. So there are things that you can build outside of the Marketing Cloud, host it there, and integrate with the Marketing Cloud to improve the value of the platform. And there is also the possibility to create custom journey activities. So when I was talking about this step of evolution of the marketing automation platform, where you start to use those if-else for marketing, so the decisions on what happens after specific actions, this is exactly what the custom journey activity lets you do. So you can, for example, decide that, okay, if someone gets an email and after one day with the custom journey activity, you are checking whether they, for example, purchased the product or created a sales visit with your company, then send them a thank you email. And if they did not, send them a reminder email that it is still awaiting for them. So those solutions are strictly related to the core Marketing Cloud, but are being built outside of it. On the side, there is also another options that you can do. There is a real-time personalization option, which was called Interaction Studio. Now it's Marketing Cloud personalization. And it lets you build a massive scale, real-time personalization that is changing your websites, your applications, or even point of sale systems, where you are building a specific template that lets then marketers to adapt the website as a customer is going through the website to showcase exactly what's needed for this specific customer to convert them. There are possibility to create dashboards and data flows to showcase specific data using the Marketing Cloud Intelligence if you are more into the data side of things. There are the integrations and data wrangling that you can do with the CDP that's getting a huge power boost after the last Dreamforce by Salesforce. So if you like working on multiple clouds and making it conjoined, it's an absolutely perfect solution for you to work on. And there will be a lot of integrations, APIs, AWS, Azure, GCP, everything you want. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, you are able to connect external systems with the API. So you can still, for example, be working on a customer application or their own platform of the e-commerce and just integrate it with the Marketing Cloud to improve the flow of the data. Finally, you can create applications that will be just fully extending the features of the Marketing Cloud. For example, by providing new features or by getting data from the Marketing Cloud and leveraging it for its own use. So I told quite a lot about what you can build in the Marketing Cloud. So now it's time for how you can build it. And there will be quite a lot of languages that you can leverage. And starting with the very similar setup, the core Marketing Cloud. First, the email. I mentioned that you will be using an ancient version of the HTML with a lot of limitations, and same for the CSS. But you can also use various frameworks that simplify the email development work, one being MGML, but there are a few others that you can leverage if you prefer. In terms of the front end, so working on the landing pages especially, HTML, CSS, JS, all of those perfectly fine. But also you can leverage other things like the Angular, Vue, React, if only you import them as a library to the landing page, if you prefer. The next part is the backend. So building, for example, the code resources or building solutions that needs to be executed before the front-end experience is loaded. And here you have the dedicated languages of the Marketing Cloud. First being SSJS, which again is the 99 version of the JavaScript, so the ECMA free and limited edit, that lets you create a lot of solutions that are really fun, like implement the reCAPTCHAs, create a custom APIs, and other further solutions that I will be discussing later on. There is AMP-Script, which is something between JavaScript and SQL in terms of the syntax, and generally is thought as a relatively simple but powerful solution for marketers to create full-blown personalization in the emails and in the communication. And then there is a GTL that we don't talk about the GTL, but generally it's a solution for working with the JSON files in, for example, emails. The number one use case being you are pushing a purchase JSON and want to showcase what someone bought and in the e-commerce and send a confirmation with the email. So the next part is also the queries. So building SQL queries to segment the data with a limited version of the T-SQL, the SQL server by Microsoft. And by limited, I mean that it's using only the select part. There is no create, no delete. It's select with, of course, all the filtering with where having groups, but only the select part. And when I would like to sum up the core Marketing Cloud development, most of it is debugging and going through the Stack Exchange, because there are quite a lot of things that can trip the developers that are not accustomed to this specific place, because there are a lot of quirks and features that are quite Marketing Cloud specific. However, it looks a bit better when you go a bit on the side solutions of the Marketing Cloud. So when you're thinking about the platforms that are around the Marketing Cloud, so be it the personalization, the intelligence for the dashboards, you are able to use the modern HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or even TypeScript when we are talking about creating the templates. So it's much more modern. You can leverage mobile apps, so leverage the SDKs that are provided either by the Marketing Cloud Mobile Connect or Mobile Push, or the Interaction Studio / Marketing Cloud Personalization. And there, of course, the world is your oyster. You can leverage whatever language you want for the mobile app. However, the easiest one to work with are the Kotlin and the Swift, because they have the biggest support from the current versions of the SDKs. Another thing I mentioned, you can build the custom apps, and it can be, of course, the apps as a content blocks or custom journey activities, or completely external apps that want to extend the features of the Marketing Cloud. And here you do React, Python with the Django or Flask, Java, PHP, whatever you want, everything is for you to leverage. It's just a matter of connecting to the Marketing Cloud, either via APIs or the SDKs. Still, the most popular solution is Node and Node-related frameworks like React, for example, because it's popular. There are solutions that help you leverage it for the Marketing Cloud, but again, it's not something that limits you. There is much more that you can leverage if you want. There is also some things that are built by Salesforce to simplify the development work, like the SLDS, which is the Salesforce Lightning Design System, which is a set of the HTML and CSS and best practices that help you build a solution that will be UX friendly, compliant, and easy to use for everyone without any limitations. So it's really helpful to understand how you can leverage it, and you can leverage it in anything you want. Again, React, Node, whatever you want, because it's just a front end, and just make your app faster and better because of the already existing elements that are there. Finally, Marketing Cloud allows you to leverage a lot of other technical knowledge, like using Heroku, which is also owned by Salesforce, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Snowflake, which is a new big add-on to the Salesforce CDP, or the Slack platform, which again is also Salesforce right now, and is fighting a lot to become the digital HQ and the solution that will talk with all the Salesforce ecosystem solutions. So I would say there's quite a lot of opportunities and quite a lot of languages that you can use to build things in the Marketing Cloud. But for sure, Marketing Cloud is more front-end / JavaScript oriented than Salesforce CRM, for example, where the Apex / Java is still one of the kings. But also there you can see the Lightning design system, or sorry, the Lightning being more and more important. So the JavaScript version, kind of like our React. Okay, so we talked about what you can build and how you can build. Now it's time for who you can be. So what are the potential roles in the Marketing Cloud ecosystem? And here there are a few developer roles that you can use. So first is the Marketing Cloud developer. You can be, of course, the generalist developer that does everything within the Marketing Cloud, a bit of email, a bit of landing pages, a bit of script activities, SQL, and integrations. Or you can be the T-shaped developer that, while still has the general knowledge of the Marketing Cloud, focuses on one specific aspect of it. For example, building custom solutions, or for example, about building script-based activities and being the master of the SSJS and the Marketing Cloud libraries for the JavaScript. You can, of course, be the email developer, which is very, I would say, specialized role. I would say it's not that well paid as it should be for the magic of this role in terms of all the quirks and workarounds that you need to think about. But it's very creative one, and also with absolutely awesome community around the email development. So it's also for sure something that might be interesting. there is this more P-shaped, so interdisciplinary role of the interactions to the developer, where you need to know something about both the business processes and the personalization approaches and a bit of a machine learning for the interaction studio, as well as the front end and how the JavaScript works, how the DOM, the document object model works, to be able to implement good solutions in there. There is the ISV developer. So to translate it for the people that are not yet in the Salesforce ecosystem, the ISV is the name for the companies that are Salesforce partners creating solutions for the Salesforce ecosystem. So think of the App Store, Google Play, but for the Salesforce ecosystem, there are a lot of companies that are creating fun, great solutions like DSelect, Activation Studio, SalesThings, and more, that are building solutions for the Marketing Cloud, outside of the Marketing Cloud. And of course, they need a lot of developers to build those solutions and keep them up to speed with the changes that are happening in the platform. And then there is, of course, the Marketing Cloud architect role. Again, it will be even more interdisciplinary because you will need more and more knowledge about the business data modeling, scaling, to be a good architect in the Marketing Cloud. And finally, if you want to take it even a step further to the top, it's the cross-cloud architect, which is not only for the Marketing Cloud, but also has a knowledge of the, for example, the Sales Cloud or the Commerce Cloud or other solutions that are in the very, very wide Salesforce ecosystem. There are also some roles that are not so developer. And if you are not sure whether the developer path is exactly what you want from the life, those might be also interesting because, of course, you can become the business analyst and go from the code and leverage your understanding of how the programming works, how the system works, but focus more on the analysis, providing the idea about how the systems are in the current moment for the client and how should they be on the Marketing Cloud, prepare the diagrams, the user stories, the ideas on how to improve the work for the customer. You can be administrator, so I would say a bit less technical role, but very important and related to making sure that the Marketing Cloud instance is working perfectly, is adhering to the best practices, and is stable, scalable, and providing the exact value that needs to be delivered for the customer to get the most of the Marketing Cloud. There is, of course, the consultant role, which is, I would say, absolutely awesome for people who are a bit on the edge of being the soft skill and hard skill user. So if you want to be consultant in the Marketing Cloud, you need a bit of the technical developer skills, you need a bit of the business soft skills, human skills. And if you like mixing those things and not doing one specific thing all the time, the consultant role is absolutely awesome in the Marketing Cloud world. And of course, if you want, ISV developer, so the app developer is not the only option. You can be also the creator and create your own application, add it to the App Exchange, and start earning millions by going to IPO with your solutions. So this is the key roles. Of course, it's not all roles that are possible. Those is just a selection of the most, I would say, frequently observed roles. But there is so much more that you can be in the even just the Marketing Cloud world. So I would say the most important part is to ask yourself, what are the things that you like the most? If programming is the thing you love and you want to do only, well, the developer roles on the left side will be more for you. If you want to mix the development work with some other things, mostly the business or soft skills, the roles on the right will be probably more fun and worth pursuing for you. Okay, so I talked a lot about the what, how, and who you can be, terms for how to get there, so terms for the recommended learning. And first, it's time for the bad news. And I saw this question already on the chat, so this is why I was not answering it directly. It is here. There is no way to get hands-on experience with the Marketing Cloud if you don't work for a company with one. So either your company is using Marketing Cloud, or your company is a Salesforce partner implementing Marketing Cloud and can get a demo account, or you are an ISV creating applications for the Marketing Cloud and you can get a demo account. Other than that, unfortunately, there is no option to get the Marketing Cloud. It's much, much easier for the Salesforce CRM, where there are free playgrounds for you to work with and learn with the hands-on experience on the platform. There are even dev accounts for the Pardot, which is yet another marketing automation solution for the Salesforce ecosystem, but more focused on the B2B market, a bit simplified compared to the Marketing Cloud. But for Marketing Cloud itself, as for now, unfortunately, there is no way to get hands-on experience. So having said that, where you can learn. So of course, the first thing is learn using the Trailhead, which is the official solution for upskilling and learning by Salesforce. If you like the courses, especially the courses that you can learn in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, is perfect place. There is also a great application where you can learn on the go just by reading, for example, when you are commuting or waiting for something. So it's really, really fun part to learn and bump your budget number. Another part, and I think Matt has already mentioned it on the chat, but also I will be sharing the links to all those things in the comment section after the webinar, is the Playground by Pato Sapir from Devs United that created this pseudo email editor where you can provide some fake test data into a table and then work on the AMP script to see how it will work in the final email. So if what you want to learn is AMP script, there is MC Snippet solution that is perfectly tuned for exactly this. Then, if you want to learn from the blogs and get the most of the step-by-step guides, there is a SFMC created by Zakaria El-Yazuli from Salesforce that is an aggregator of the knowledge. So it's not a single blog, it's rather a place where you can find hundreds of blogs where you can search for a specific topic or problem that you have and find solutions from various people who encountered it and approach it in different ways. So it's also a really great way to learn and solve your problems. There are great videos, for example, on the SFMC Trailblazer YouTube channel by Shibu Abraham, but of course, it's not the only one. And again, on the SFMC created, there will be also links to various YouTube channels. You can also filter by video, if I remember correctly. Then if you prefer something more material, there is a book by Greg Gifford and Jason Hanshaw called Automating Salesforce Marketing Cloud that I would say is probably targeted developers. So when I was reading it, my feeling was that it's the target audience for this book are people who are developers and want to get to know the Marketing Cloud. So for you, I think it's really, really great read that can simplify the learning process a lot and showcase you already in an easy to digest format a lot of quirks that you need to know to get the most of the platform. Then, of course, this is just learning the theory, but the best way to learn is learning by doing. And as there is no hands-on experience that you can leverage, the easiest way is getting hired. And it sounds a bit obvious and a bit too nice to be true, but the real thing is that it's a bit regional, so it won't be true probably for all regions, but at least in Europe and US, you don't need to be the specialist of the Marketing Cloud to get your first Marketing Cloud role. There are a lot of options. to leverage your non-marketing cloud knowledge, your development knowledge, your business knowledge, your marketing knowledge to get your first role and start in this ecosystem. Then there is also a lot of internships by various companies that lets you learn from the scratch and leverage within the internship the marketing cloud platform of the company that is providing the internship that can help you get this elusive hands-on experience. And finally, there is also a lot of ways to support nonprofits and NGOs that are working on the Marketing Cloud platform for free, but in exchange, not only help this NGO do something good in the world, something good that you believe in the world, but also, again, get this hands-on experience and check your knowledge, how it looks in the real life, apply it to the real problems, and in the meantime, help the world become better. Also, if you want a bit more technical development session from this one, because again, I said this session is more basics for the developers from outside the ecosystem. If you want to learn more about a specific marketing cloud development, there is the incoming session that I will be leading within the Trailblazing Together series by the Josh Nabitra. Which will be happening in 3 weeks on when the App Exchange is the right solution. So this app store of Salesforce, let's say, and what to do when it's wrong. So what you can build when the App Exchange is not enough and you want to create something custom to improve and extend your Marketing Cloud solution. And with this, we are coming to the Q&A part of today's session. Of course, feel free to connect to me on the LinkedIn. And just before everyone leaves for the well-deserved break, let me remind you that in just 2 days, on Thursday, within the same series by Noltic, there will be a final session on the Marketing Cloud side of things, Data Management and Architecture by Elliot Harper. Must see for everyone that wants to learn what is the data model of the Marketing Cloud and how to work with the data model in the Marketing Cloud, which I would say is one of the key things to know when you want to then create automated solutions with the programmatic languages on top of that data. Okay, so now let me scroll the chat to see whether there are any yet unanswered questions. I think that Mates and Anastasia were hard at work to answer the ones that were happening there. Okay, I think all were answered as for now. So if you have any other questions, now it's time.